Eat from the toilet. That's where this food that smells like shit belongs to. Mama, eat it.
Amaka,
there.
is this how
Pour a
you have
cup
been
of tea,
treating my
get
mother?
comfy, and let your
I'll
heart
deal
listen.
with you.
The story's about to start. Welcome to Tales Vibe, where laughter and lessons flow together. If you love a good story, don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more tales every week. And please tell us where you're watching from in the comments. We'd love to know where our story family is tuning in from. Mama Tund was known in the whole area as the woman who never got tired. Every morning before the first cock crowed, she was already outside washing beans, arranging pepper, and preparing her small charcoal stove. She sold moi, Accra, and sometimes pap, depending on what she could afford that week. The money was never plenty, but she managed it with the wisdom of a woman who understood hunger very well. All she wanted was simple. Her son, Tund, must not suffer the way she suffered. She repeated the same prayer every night before she slept. God, let this boy go far. Let him finish school. Let him break this poverty for both of us. When Tund was still small, he used to sit beside her while she fried Accra. His legs dangled from the wooden bench, his uniform sometimes torn, sometimes faded, but always clean. Mama Tund made sure of that. She washed his clothes by hand every night, even when her fingers were swollen from grinding beans. Whenever she dished food, she pushed the biggest portion toward him. Eat well, my son. You need strength for school. She would keep only the burnt ends or the small scraps for herself. Many times neighbors said, Mama Tund, you need to eat too. She only smiled and replied, if my son succeeds, I have eaten enough. School fees were a battle every term. Some days, she sold enough to pay part of it. Other days, she borrowed small amounts from the woman selling smoked fish or from the elder who charged phones by the junction. But no matter how hard it was, she always found a way. Tund never missed school, not even once. Whenever Tund brought home good results, Mama Tund celebrated like she won a jackpot. She kept all his report cards inside a nylon bag under her bed. She looked at them whenever she felt tired, reminding herself why she was fighting so hard. I must push this boy forward, she always said. Poverty will not win. Even when rain beat her from morning to evening, or when customers complained about prices, Mama Tund stood strong. She believed her sweat was an investment. One day, it must pay her back through her son. And Tund, even as a young boy, saw everything. He saw the burns on her hands, the holes in her slippers, the way she forced a smile when there was no money left. In his small heart, he made a quiet promise. One day, Mama will rest. That promise became the fuel for his entire life. The promise Tund made in his heart, to make Mama rest one day, followed him everywhere. It pushed him through primary school, secondary school, and every long night he spent reading with a small lantern on the floor. While other children played ball after school, Tund went straight home to help Mama and then opened his books. He never forgot how she stood every day from morning till night just to keep him in school. By the time he entered SS2, his teachers noticed he was different. He asked questions, he read extra topics, and he always tried to understand things deeper. One teacher said, "This boy will go far. His mother's sacrifice is not in vain." Tund only smiled. He didn't like praise, he preferred results. When he finished secondary school, he sat for jam and passed well. Mama Tund cried when the admission letter came. God, thank you, she prayed, holding the envelope to her chest. She borrowed money, sold more food, and even took on small cleaning jobs just to make sure he entered university without shame. University life opened Tund's eyes. He saw how technology was changing things, how people were building apps, creating websites, solving problems online. He became curious. Even though his course wasn't computer-related, he spent his free time learning tech skills from friends and school workshops. He visited the school ICT center every weekend, practicing for hours. Sometimes he called Mama. Mama, I'm learning this thing called programming. Mama Tund always replied, My son, whatever you learn, learn it well. Education is your weapon. For years passed, and Tund graduated with good results. Mama Tund wore her best wrapper and went for his convocation. She didn't understand all the English the lecturers spoke, but when she heard Tund Ogunlai, she stood up proudly and clapped with her whole chest. All she saw was her boy walking across the stage to collect his certificate. To her, that certificate was a reward for every morning she woke before dawn, every blister on her hands, every hunger she ignored. After his NYSC, Tund got an internship in a small tech company in Lagos. He worked hard, stayed late, and quickly became one of the best hands in the office. His ideas were sharp and fresh. People began to notice him. Soon, he moved to a bigger company. Then another. With time, he saved enough to start his own tech startup. It grew fast because Tund put his heart into it the same way Mama put her heart into raising him. Whenever people praised him for being young and successful, he always said the same thing. My mother planted the seed. I'm just watering it. And truly, everything he became started from her struggle. As Tund's startup grew, so did his confidence. He began attending tech events, seminars, and business meetups across Lagos. It was at one of these gatherings that he met Amaka. She worked in branding and had a sharp way of presenting ideas. People liked her boldness. Tund admired her confidence, and she admired his calm drive. Before long, they started talking often. Tund told Mama about her the first time he felt the relationship becoming serious. Mama, there's someone I want you to meet soon, he said with a shy smile. Mama laughed. Ah, my son, it's time. I've been praying for you. When Amaka finally visited, she came with small gifts, fruit basket, juice snacks, everything packaged nicely. Mama welcomed her warmly. She held her hands and said, My daughter, you are welcome. Amaka smiled and replied politely, Thank you, Mama. Tund was excited that they seemed to get along. That night, he told Mama, She's the one I want to marry. Mama nodded happily. If she makes you happy, then she is my daughter too. The wedding came months later. It wasn't extravagant, but it was beautiful and well-planned. Family and friends gathered, music played, and pictures were taken. Mama wore a new lace wrapper that Tund bought specially for her. She felt like the mother of a king. As she watched Tund and Amaka dance together, her heart swelled with pride. After the wedding, Tund moved into a new apartment with Amaka, but he still visited Mama every week. He never forgot her. He repaired her roof, bought her a new mattress, and ensured she had everything she needed. One day after church, Tund sat beside Mama and said softly, Mama, I don't like you staying alone. Come and stay with us. You have done too much for me. It's time for you to rest. Mama hesitated. Tund, let me be managing here. You and your wife need your space. But Tund insisted. Mama, you are not a stranger. This family is not complete without you. Please come. Mama agreed because she trusted her son. She packed her small box, locked up her little house, and followed Tund to his home. She believed she was entering a new season, a season of rest, peace, and joy. When they entered the house, Amaka came out smiling. Mama, welcome. Feel at home. Mama smiled back innocently, not knowing that this welcome was just the surface. She had no idea that deeper things were waiting, things that would test the peace she hoped for. At first, living with Tund and Amaka felt peaceful for Mama Tund. She woke early, as usual, and quietly entered the kitchen to warm water or prepare small breakfast. She believed she was helping. Tund was always grateful, but Amaka's reactions slowly began to change. The first sign came one morning when Mama made yam and egg sauce. When Amaka stepped into the kitchen, she covered her nose slightly. Mama, this smell is too strong, she said, forcing a smile. Mama looked confused. Ah, my daughter, it's just egg now. Amaka replied, picking her phone. Let me open the window. We don't want visitors thinking we are cooking canteen food. Mama nodded quietly. It sounded like a joke, but something in her chest tightened. She moved slower around the kitchen after that. Another day, Mama offered to fold Tund's shirts since he had gone out early. When Amaka saw the folded clothes, she chuckled. Mama, we don't fold shirts like this in this house. Oh. This one looks like market arrangement. Mama swallowed. Sorry, my daughter. I will do it again. No, leave it. I'll just send it to laundry. She took a picture before walking away, typing fast on her phone. Mama didn't know what was funny, but she heard Amaka giggling with her friends in the sitting room. Tund noticed small things, Mama staying more in her room, talking less, smiling only half-heartedly, but he assumed she was just adjusting. Things became clearer the day Mama made pepper stew for Tund. He had told her the previous night, Mama, I miss your stew. So she woke early and prepared it with excitement. When Amaka smelt it, she frowned instantly. Mama, again? This stew smell is too local. Mama responded softly. Tund, said he. Amaka interrupted. Mama, please now. We are not in the old house. This place is different. She brought out a strong air freshener and sprayed around the kitchen repeatedly. Mama stepped back quietly. Something inside her broke, but she didn't show it. Later that evening, When Tund returned and ate the stew happily, he didn't notice the way Mama watched from the corner, hoping for one word of defense that never came. Over time, Amaka's small comments became frequent. Mama, don't wear that wrapper. It looks like 1960. Mama, you walk too slow. Try to be sharp. Mama, don't touch this plate. It is expensive. Each insult was small on the surface, but heavy in Mama's heart. She still smiled, still greeted Amaka politely, still prayed for their home. But the house no longer felt like the place of rest Tund promised her. It was the beginning of wounds that had not yet fully opened. The small insults continued until they slowly grew into actions Mama could no longer pretend not to notice. After the stew incident, Mama reduced how often she cooked, just to avoid trouble. But even that didn't stop things from shifting in the house. One Saturday morning, Mama entered the kitchen to make pap for everyone. She had barely picked up the pot when Amaka walked in, already dressed for the day. Mama, drop that pot, she said calmly but firmly. Mama froze. I just wanted to make small pap. No need, Amaka cut in. I've hired a maid. She'll handle everything. You should rest. People will think we are stressing you. Mama nodded slowly. She didn't want to argue. But as she stepped aside, she noticed something. The pots and plates she brought from her old house were missing from the lower cupboard. She checked quietly and saw they had been moved to the top shelf where she could barely reach. In their place were shiny new plates and expensive pots. When she asked Amaka about it later, the answer came with a light smile. Mama, I packed those your old things. They're too outdated. We need everything here to look modern. Mama only said, okay, but her heart felt squeezed. Another afternoon, Mama was washing clothes in the backyard. She hung Tund's shirts carefully on the line she usually used. When Amaka came outside, she frowned slightly. Mama, please don't use this line again. It's for our clothes. Use that side. She pointed to a corner near the generator, where the clothes would collect dust. Mama moved the shirts without complaint, but her face fell as she worked. Inside the house, Amaka also became more controlling about movement. She didn't like Mama walking around when she was filming videos or having friends over. Mama, please stay in your room small. I'm recording something. Mama, I don't want background noise, please. Mama, don't walk behind me when I'm on video. Each request sounded polite, but it pushed Mama further into a small corner. The house grew big, but her presence became small. In the evenings, Tund returned tired. Mama always wanted to talk, but Amaka would say, Tund, let him rest. Don't disturb him with stories. So Mama smiled and stepped back silently. The hardest part came when Mama tried to prepare beans one morning because she knew Tund loved it. Amaka walked into the kitchen, sniffed the air, and said sharply, Mama, this smell is too strong. Please stop cooking this type of food. It is messing up the whole house. Mama quietly turned off the stove. She felt herself shrinking daily in a home her son brought her into with love. But even though her spirit was bending, she kept telling herself, for peace, Mama must endure. She didn't know the worst was still ahead. Mama slowly adjusted to the new life in the house, even though every day felt tighter than the last. She tried to avoid trouble, waking earlier, cooking only small portions, and mostly keeping to herself. But nothing she did seemed to please Amaka anymore. One Monday morning, Mama woke up with joy in her heart. Tund had mentioned the day before that he missed beans and plantain. So Mama decided to make a small pot before he left for work. She cooked quietly, humming to herself, trying not to disturb anyone. But as soon as Amaka came downstairs and smelt the food, she stopped sharply in the middle of the kitchen. Mama, what is this? She asked in a tone that carried irritation. Mama wiped her hands on her wrapper. My daughter, it's just beans. Tund likes it. Amaka burst into a short laugh. Beans? In this house? This smell alone can scatter somebody's mood. Mama's smile faded slowly. Oh, sorry. I will open the window. But Amaka wasn't satisfied. She moved closer to the pot, sniffed again, and made a face like she was offended. Mama, this your food? She paused, shaking her head. It smells like shit. Mama's eyes widened. She wasn't expecting such a harsh word. Ah, Amaka, it's only beans. Before Mama finished, Amaka called their dog Bruno. The dog ran inside, wagging its tail. Amaka pointed at the pot. See, Mama? This kind of food is what this dog will enjoy. If you want to eat it, go and sit with Bruno. You and this food smell the same. Mama froze. Her lips trembled, but she didn't speak. Instead, she lowered her head. Amaka continued. Next time you want to cook, ask me first. I don't want you turning this place into roadside buka. The words hit Mama in the chest like stones. She held the pot gently, as if protecting it from further insult. At that moment, the maid entered the kitchen and looked confused. She saw the tension but said nothing. Mama quickly covered the pot and carried it to the back, away from the main kitchen. As she walked past the dog, Amaka called out loudly, "Yes, Mama, go that side. Eat with Bruno." Mama's steps slowed. She stood still for a moment, her back turned, but tears dropped quietly on the floor. She didn't want Amaka or the maid to see her cry, so she kept walking until she reached the small back corner of the house. She sat on a stool, opened the pot, and stared at the beans she cooked with love. Her heart felt heavy, heavier than it had ever felt since she moved in. She whispered to herself, "God, give me strength. For Tun's sake, let me endure." But she didn't know this was only the beginning. The real cruelty was still coming. If you have enjoyed the story to this place, please press the subscribe button and put on your notification and be part of this family. The beans incident left a wound in Mama's heart, but she buried it the way she always buried pain, silently. She told herself not to take it to heart. "Amaka is young," she whispered. "She will adjust." But deep down, Mama knew things were shifting for the worse. A few days later, Tund mentioned casually that he had been craving her rice and stew. His eyes brightened as he spoke, and Mama felt a warm flutter in her chest. "That one is easy," she said with quiet joy. "I will make it for you tomorrow." Early the next morning, Mama cooked the stew carefully. She selected the best tomatoes, fried the pepper properly, and added beef the way Tund liked. She tasted it and smiled. "My son will enjoy this." She dished the food into the old ceramic bowl she brought from her former house, the bowl Tund loved since childhood. Then she carried it gently to the dining table. Just as she set it down, Amaka came downstairs. She stopped when she saw the food, her eyebrow lifting sharply. "Mama, what is this again?" Mama smiled softly. "Tund said he missed my rice and stew." "So I." Amaka cut her off with a loud scoff. "This thing," she pointed at the bowl. "Mama, are you trying to disgrace us? This nonsense smells like shit. How can you put this in the dining area?" Mama's hands trembled. The insult stung deeply, but she still tried to explain. "My daughter, it is just small rice and stew." "Tund." "I don't care what Tund said." Amaka shouted, stepping closer. "This rubbish does not belong on this table." In fact, she grabbed the bowl forcefully. Rice spilled onto the floor. Mama reached out quickly. "Please, Amaka, leave it. He will soon." But Amaka marched straight to the bathroom. "Mama, follow me," she commanded. Mama followed slowly, dread filling her chest. When Amaka reached the toilet, she lifted the lid. "Mama, since you love this your smelly food so much, eat it here. This is where it belongs." Mama gasped. "Amaka, please don't do this. I beg you." Amaka placed the bowl on the toilet seat and tapped it with her fingers. "Sit here and eat it, Mama. Isn't this where shit goes? That's exactly how your food smells." Mama covered her mouth with both hands, tears filling her eyes. "Amaka, please." But Amaka was not done. She held the bowl over the toilet and said, "Next time, think before you bring village food into my dining room." Then she turned the bowl upside down. The rice and stew splashed into the toilet with a sickening sound. Mama let out a broken cry. Amaka flushed once, slowly, watching the food disappear. She turned to Mama and said coldly, "Let this be the last time." As Mama stood there shaking, staring at the toilet swirling with the food she cooked with love, she felt a pain she had never known before. Mama was still standing in the bathroom, her hands shaking, the toilet water slowly settling after swallowing the food she cooked with joy. Her heart felt heavy, as if someone had placed a stone inside her chest. She wiped her face quickly, hoping the tears would stop before anyone entered. But life didn't wait for her to recover. At that exact moment, the front door opened. Tund stepped into the house earlier than usual. Work had stressed him, but he was looking forward to the food Mama promised. He was already imagining the taste, the smell, the comfort it brought. He expected to hear pots clattering or Mama humming softly in the kitchen. Instead, he heard a toilet flush. Once. Then silence. Then a short, sharp laugh, Amaka's laugh. Tund paused. Something felt wrong. He placed his bag on the chair and walked toward the hallway. As he got closer, a faint smell of stew mixed with toilet cleaner hit him. It confused him, but he kept moving. When he reached the bathroom door, what he saw stopped him cold. Amaka was standing with one hand on her hip, looking pleased with herself. Mama was leaned against the wall, her wrapper stained, her hands trembling. On the toilet seat lay the old ceramic bowl, now empty, smeared with red stew marks. Inside the toilet water, small grains of rice still floated. Tun's breath caught in his throat. "Amaka," his voice was low. "What happened here?" Amaka turned casually. "Oh, you're home early. I was just teaching your mother a small lesson." Mama quickly shook her head. "Tund, my son, it's nothing. Don't worry." But the crack in her voice betrayed her. Tund looked at the bowl again, then at the toilet, then at his mother's shaking hands. His heart pounded heavily. "A lesson?" he asked quietly. Amaka shrugged. "Yes." She brought smelling food to the dining table. "I already warned her. This house cannot be full of nonsense village food. So I disposed of it." "Disposed?" Tund repeated slowly. "Yes, now," Amaka replied. "Is it not just rice? I threw it where it belongs." Mama looked down, shame burning her cheeks. She whispered, "I only wanted to cook what you asked for." At that sentence, something inside Tund snapped. His eyes widened in realization. This was not the first insult. Not the first humiliation. Not the first pain she swallowed silently. And he had failed to see it. He stepped into the bathroom fully, his voice trembling not from anger alone, but from heartbreak. "Mama," he whispered, "how long has this been happening?" Mama weakly shook her head. "My son, let it go. Mama will endure." But Tund's face hardened. "No, Mama," he said. "Not this. Not today." He finally understood. His silence had cost his mother her dignity. And something had to change. The bathroom felt too small for the tension inside it. Tund stood between his mother and the toilet bowl that still carried the smell of her humiliation. His chest rose and fell fast. He had never been this angry, not even in business meetings where millions were at stake. This was different. This was personal. "Amaka," he said quietly, but the calmness in his voice was sharper than shouting. "You flushed my mother's food?" Amaka rolled her eyes slightly. "Tund, don't start. It was just one bowl of rice. I've told Mama many times to stop bringing village food into this house. She refused. I had to teach her." Tund turned slowly to Mama, and seeing her trembling broke something inside him. Her eyes pleaded with him not to escalate things, but the damage was already done. Without thinking, Tund dropped to his knees in front of her. Mama gasped. "Tund, stand up, you're a man." But he held her hands tightly and shook his head. "Mama, I am sorry," he said, voice cracking. "You suffered for me. You carried me on your back through life. And I allowed you to live in fear under my roof." Mama's lips quivered. "No, my son. Mama is fine." Tund looked up at her with pained eyes. "You are not fine. I see it now. You've been shrinking yourself just to keep peace in this house." Amaka folded her arms. "Tund, are you seriously kneeling? Because of this?" He stood up slowly, facing her. All the softness in his expression was gone. "Amaka, I have tolerated many things. Your attitude, your comments, your complaints. I told myself it was normal adjustment. But today you crossed a line. It's not that deep," she snapped. "Your mother." "Don't," Tund said sharply, raising a hand. "Don't speak about her like that." Amaka blinked, shocked. Tund continued, calmer this time. "You said her food smells like shit. You told her to eat with the dog. Today, you dragged her food to the toilet and poured it inside. That is not correction. That is wickedness." Amaka scoffed. "Wickedness? Tund, please. I'm only trying to upgrade this house. Your mother is stuck in the past." Tund stepped closer. "Then you and I cannot live together. Because anyone who cannot respect the woman who raised me has no place in my life." Amaka's eyes widened. "You're choosing her over me?" Tund breathed deeply. "I am choosing respect. Something you stopped giving a long time ago." Amaka stared at him, shaken, her pride fighting her fear. Tund turned to Mama and held her hand. "No more tears in this house, Mama. I promise you." And for the first time since she moved in, Mama felt truly defended. Amaka stood frozen, shocked that Tund meant every word. She opened her mouth to argue again, but the look in his eyes stopped her. It wasn't anger alone, it was finality. She had pushed too far. She knew it and Tund knew it. Without another word, she turned, walked out of the bathroom, and went straight to the bedroom. Drawers opened and closed, zippers moved, bags snapped shut. Tund didn't stop her. He didn't call her back. For the first time in their marriage, silence became the answer. Mama watched with mixed emotions. Pain for the broken home, relief for her son's clarity, and guilt that she was part of the cause. "Tund," she said softly, Don't let this scatter your life. Marriage is not easy. Tun squeezed her hand gently. Mama, marriage is not wickedness either. What happened today, no mother deserves it. Amaka rolled her suitcase past them in the corridor. She didn't look at Mama. She didn't look at Tund. When she reached the door, she paused for one brief moment, but pride raised her chin. The door opened, then closed behind her with a final thud. Silence settled across the house. Mama wiped her eyes quickly. My son, I didn't want it to end like this. Tun took her into his arms. Mama, it ended the moment she flushed your food. I just didn't know. They stood like that for a moment, mother and son holding years of sacrifice, pain, and love between them. Later that night, Tun changed into simple clothes and entered the kitchen. Mama sat quietly at the table, still shaken. Mama, Tun called, come and teach me how to cook your rice and stew. Mama blinked. You want to cook? At this time? He smiled. Yes, for you. And for me. She hesitated, then nodded slowly. Tund washed the rice too fast, poured oil too much, sliced onions the wrong way. Mama corrected him gently, laughing small laughter she hadn't felt in weeks. When the stew finally finished, Tund dished it into the same ceramic bowl Mama had used earlier, the one Amaka stained with humiliation. Tonight, the bowl felt restored. He placed it on the table and pulled out a chair. Mama, can I eat with you? Her eyes watered. My son, that is all I've ever wanted. They ate together quietly. The taste of the stew carried memories, healing, and gratitude. Tund held her hand across the table. Mama, he said softly, from today, nobody will insult your food or your life again. Mama squeezed his hand back. My son, you have made me rest. For the first night since she moved in, Mama felt at home again. And that's the end of today's tale. We hope it brought a smile, a thought, or a little bit of magic to your day. If you enjoyed this story, please like the video, subscribe to Tales Vibe for more weekly tales, and tell us in the comments where you're watching from. We love hearing from our story family all around the world. Until next time, keep your heart open, your imagination alive, and remember, laughter and lessons always go hand in hand. See you in the next story.